Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Video's a little later than usual. I took a few days off of work. Got some friends in town. About to hit the aquarium with the kids. We have this neighborhood around here called Candy Cane Lane. All the houses deck it out. All kinds of lights and stuff on the front yard. And these big old nutcrackers and robots and shit. So we're going to do that with the kids. You know, 'tis the season. But if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that occasionally we like to have a little something called Story Time with Uncle Jericho. I do like to get away sometimes from the political and social bullshit, the impeachment, the Ku Klux Klans trying to take over our fucking lives. So we'll step away from that for a minute. I'd like to tell you a story. This one was from when I was in the greatest branch that the United States Armed Forces has to offer. Of course, the United States Navy. Hoorah, go Navy. I was actually talking to my brother the other day, and he's Army and Air Force, whatever. So we were going back and forth. Pretty much that was 99% of the conversation was us trying to talk over each other and tell the other one how much better their branch is. Of course, I won because automatically it's the Navy. They're the best. Don't be stupid. So here we go. We were overseas. We were probably 100 miles from the coast of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. And I was on watch, forward lookout. That means all the way forward, the front of the ship. And up front, they have these two things we call the big eyes. These two gigantic, the biggest set of binoculars you've ever seen. And they can see about 10 miles away. So in proper watch technique, you start from your left or port side and you sweep from port to starboard, and you slowly go up with your sweep until you're looking up at the sky. But you start at the horizon, the water line, and you go back and forth sweeping port to starboard until you're all the way up looking at the sky. You're looking for any watercraft, you're looking for any aircraft. So it's probably late afternoon, early evening, and we spot something off in the distance, a little tiny thing floating in the water. We know it's smaller than a boat because sometimes when you get close to shore, you see like little fishing boats, little like aluminum dinghies and shit, little tiny things. So it was too small to be that. And we keep looking, and we're probably going, I don't know, 15, 20 knots. And we start getting closer. And when we get close enough with the big eyes, you could see that it was a body. It was a body floating in the water. It was face down, just bobbing in the waves, and he was kind of facing away from us, so you couldn't really see much. We got a little closer, and we saw that he had some kind of ski mask or something pulled over his head. He was barefoot, and he had something tied around his waist. And so we get closer, and we see that it was something like a keg, the size of a keg, this big metal thing tied around his waist, probably used to sink his body, but that didn't work. So we get close, and we're like, well, we got to scoop this dude up out of the water. So in a little smaller boat, you know, like a little Liberty boat size thing, maybe 15, 20 feet, we send one of the medics, we send one of the MAs, the Master at Arms, which is the Navy's version of military police, and then we sent one of the gunner's mates with another gun. So they go out there, they pull up next to the body, and they take a body bag and they scoop him, try to scoop him up out of the water. But when they scooped him, they scooped too much water and he was too heavy to pull over into the side of the boat. So one of them had the bright idea, I'll take my marlin spike, and that's probably 8-inch solid piece of metal, looks like a giant nail, has a flat head on it and a pretty sharp tip used to weave line and stuff like that. And so he had one of them, so he pulls it out and he pops 4 holes in the body bag to let the water drain out. The water drains, they pull the guy's body over into the water, they come back to the ship, we bring him on board, and they lay him on the ground or on the deck all the way forward on the ship near where the anchor is. So when they punctured the 4 holes in the body bag, they went too deep and they put 4 holes in the dude's back. Now his skin, it looked like mashed potatoes. You know, you in the tub too long and your feet and your hands get all wrinkly. Well, even more than that, like the dude's skin came off. He was missing some fingers and toes. So probably some fish or some sea crates were nibbling on him. And when they put the 4 holes in this dude's back, let me tell you, I don't know if you necessarily have to live in a rural setting for this, but you smell a dead animal, you know what the smell of a rotting dead animal is. Well, go ahead and crank that up about 1,000%, because this dude smelled fucking awful. A rotting human body is by far the worst thing I've ever smelled, worse than any skunk, worse than any rotting garbage. I mean, I found dead animals with like maggots and shit in them. Nothing compared to this. So when they put him all the way forward, I don't remember why they didn't put him aft. Maybe because that's where the smoking section was, and you can't fuck with people's nicotine intake when you're underway, let me tell you. So they put him all the way forward, and they left his body in the body bag. Well, the smell, and our berthing was all the way forward, so we were probably 50 feet or so from where his actual body was. And your berthing is where you live. You got your little common area with the table to play cards or whatever, TV, and then people's racks, the bathroom and shit like that. And each division has their own berthing area. Machinist mates, gunner's mates, boatswain's mates, all that shit. They all sleep in separate areas. So our berthing was about 50 feet from him, and man, it smelled like boiled ass. It smelled disgusting. We couldn't even be in there. Everybody cleared out, went and hung out on other people's berthing, hung out on the mess decks, you know, where you serve food, and hung out all the way aft smoking cigarettes. We couldn't be in there. So the smell starts to permeate the whole fucking ship. And to put it in perspective, there's about 700 people on my ship. And maybe 50 people ate dinner that night. These were the hardcores. Maybe they were the machinist mates who've been down below decks for 4 days and they're so damn hungry and starved for human connection, they didn't give a fuck. But the overwhelming majority of the ship could not do it. It was the worst smell ever. I don't know why they put him forward, because going through the water, the wind's blowing back and it's going through the whole ship. I mean, people, they were fucking dry. And side note, I don't know why, but ever since I was a kid, when people dry heave, that shit is hilarious. So all these people are like, oh, I can't, fucking last. But man, it smelled like shit. So come to find out, this dude was in the United Arab Emirates Coast Guard. He had been missing for 10 days, and they did the morning muster like we do, you know, 0730, everybody musters up, you line up, get in ranks. They take roll call to make sure none of you fuckers fell off of the boat in the middle of the night. Make sure everybody is present and accounted for. So this dude had been missing for 10 days. They suspect that he went over the side during the middle of the night. But like I said, the ski mask pulled over his head, no shoes or socks, and that keg thing tied around his waist, it was probably foul play. And it turns out the dude, I don't know, there were rumors that he had some bullet wounds. I don't know, maybe that was the 4 holes that they put in this dude's back. But there were rumors that he got popped and thrown over the side. Definitely some foul play. But sad note, or even sadder than the dude being dead, we pull into port the next morning and the guy's brother is on the pier waiting. And as soon as they brought the body up there, he looked, he started screaming and crying. It was some really sad shit. But yeah, man, that was us pulling a rotted dead corpse out of the Mediterranean. I think it was the Mediterranean. Somebody's going to Google that shit and be like, actually, Jericho, right off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. I don't give a fuck. I think it was the Med. Anyway, that's the story. That's how that shit happened. That was the one and only time that I had the pleasure of being in the presence of a rotting human body. Worst smell ever, by far, no comparison. People, let me know in the comment section if you have some interesting stories to do with cadavers in the comment section. But like I said, I got a full plate today. Lots of quality time with the family. My favorite place to be. So let me get all up in it. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit liberal cries. Please hit up the link in the description box, fanatictones.com. Help me stay independent. $1.29 per ringtone. Get a little Jericho in your life. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.